Odell Beckham's coming to the Dolphins. F1 is in Miami. We got a lot going on, but there is also the Kentucky Derby on our radar. One of the biggest sporting events in the world every year. Gary Fenton is on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. So Gary, friend of mine, is the managing partner of the largest horse racing syndicate in California, Little Red Feather, which is the syndicate that I use, by the way, when I invest in racehorses. He's also the chairman of the board of the Thoroughbred Owners of California, which is the most prestigious horseman group in America. And so I want to get his pick for the Derby tomorrow. Usually, again, Lee Sterling comes on with us, gives us picks for the weekend. So we'll get a pick from Gary for the Derby tomorrow. And I mentioned you, Crowder. He's very good at this kind of stuff. He finished third last year's. I won't tell you what he won, but he finished third in last year's $4 million National Horse Players Championship in Vegas.
Let me hold something, Gary. Let me hold something.
He happens to be a pretty good handicapper when it comes to horses. Now, he's not going to be at Churchill Downs tomorrow. He will be at the Preakness in a couple of weeks, the Belmont after that. He's been to the Derby before. You've been to the Derby before, right, What You've been in the winter.
First of all, thank you very much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. And
nobody says that. What is this? The Dean Martin roast in 1976?
I thought this was a Hollywood show. It's not.
No, just go right into whatever we're talking about. Nobody thanks anyone for being somewhere.
I appreciate you, Gary.
I appreciate you too, Crowder.
I've been to the Derby. I would like to thank you for being here as well.
The Derby is one of the great sporting events. I've been to the Super Bowl and NBA championships and Stanley Cup finals. And the Kentucky Derby is one of the great sporting events. And this year is extra special with it being the 150th running.
Yeah, I want to get your pick. Actually, let me get your pick. Well, let's get this out of the way because I want to talk about the pomp and circumstance, which, revolves around Derby weekend and the Derby itself and the mint julep. So what did I see? Fierceness and Sierra Leone are the two favorites. Do you have a pick for us? I know you don't like to pick chalks, but sometimes that's what jumps out at you. What do we have for tomorrow's Derby?
Every time I get ready to start, Crowder, does he do this to you? He just keeps talking and talking.
That's what he does. He loves it.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, though, Gary. We appreciate it. He
gonna do that.
You guys are the best. Hawk, I know you don't like picking chalk, which is something that you say, but as I heard you earlier, you do like jumping off and hedging while you have bets in.
I'll take a profit.
Which is similar to betting chalk. And I don't like to bet chalk too, especially in the Kentucky Derby. Just a little history. For the last 30 years, I mean, pretty much favorites did not win for, I think, 25 or 26 consecutive years. In the last 10 years, there was a run of 3 or 4 years where the favorites won. Coupled with that, if a horse won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, which is a major prep about 6 months earlier, I believe there's only 1 or 2 that have actually gone forwards 5 months later to become the best 3-year-old to win the Kentucky Derby. So with all of that, it actually is a little surprising for me to pick Fierceness, who is not only the morning line favorite, he's currently the favorite, he's also the Breeders' Cup Juvenile champion. But he's a horse that just stands well above everybody else in this field. Not only that, pace makes the race, as they say, and the gates open, and there's a lot of strategy involved of where to put horses. And Fierceness is one of those horses that just likes to be in front, needs to be in front, and there really isn't another horse like that in the race. So you've got the best horse in the race who's going to probably get a clean trip up front, not really be contested. And as far as I'm concerned, at 5-2, that's a great bet.
What would you tell me and Crowder? Crowder and I, we do these shows at Gulfstream Park, and we love it out there. We're in the Carousel Club, and it's fun. And when we're betting horses, we just kind of pick numbers, right? We don't really.
Well, I like to look at them, and the ones that look like they're pissed off is the ones I bet money on, Gary. I don't know if that's a good approach to it, but when they walk them around and that horse looks mad, I'm like, I'm going with 7.
So give us like for novice handicappers, because you're an actual award-winning handicapper. Give us like what can we do like starter points? Like, don't get too in depth for us.
Well, I think Crowder has the starter point when you see what we call presence, when the horse is in front of you and is on his toes and is prancing. The coat looks good. Those are all clear signs that the horse feels good and probably will perform to the best of their abilities that day.
If you were then doing it based on presence, a race between me, Crowder, and Solana, how would you handicap? Just looking at us and hearing and seeing us, how would you handicap this race?
Well, it's pretty easy. I come from a Jewish heritage, so I always pick the Jewish person in the room.
Thank you very much. Solana, though, the rare Uruguayan Jew.
Oh, how about that? So now we've got a horse race. We've got a neck and neck horse race.
Gary,
I'm going to go with youth, I think, Hawk, on this one.
I'm 6'3", 240, ex-football player. If we're doing anything
physical,
I'm winning.
He's the award-winning handicapper, not you.
You asked me for my professional opinion.
He's the award-winning handicapper. What is we talk, Gary, again, Little Red Feather is the horse racing syndicate that I have invested in, and Crowder and Solana love to ride me on when the horses aren't doing well. But I will tell you, we had an argument yesterday about Billy Big, because Billy Big won a race and came in second in a race, and that's a pretty good feeling. Am I wrong, Gary? That's like, a win and a place.
Well, besides thanking you for being here, Hawk, I'd like to thank you for being a good partner of Little Red Feather Racing.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you being a partner to me.
Billy Big was a nice horse for us. Billy Big won a couple of races and performed at a very high level, not a stakes necessarily level, but definitely performed well for us.
Would Billy Big be better if Hawk wasn't involved with him?
Stop it! How dare you? Just take your loss.
There is an element of luck and an element of karma, if they will. My guess is the horse probably would have performed the same.
What if Crowder and Solana and I wanted to invest in a horse? Crowder has a seasonings line called Crowder Powder. Now, what if we wanted to invest in a horse and name it Crowder Powder? Because that would be good publicity for you and something that, we have a connection here with Little Red Feather. How would something like that take place? Can you name a horse Crowder Powder?
Of course, we like to keep our partners happy. And if partners want to name a horse and they take a significant part of that horse, then we're happy to let them name it. As Hawk said, I'm a syndicate, so we partner up with 15 or 20 different people, and so if not everybody likes Crowder Powder, then we're at a loss here. So if you guys want to take a good portion, and this is not
I see. So if we knock the other people out, maybe we come in just 3 strong. And
if you buy 25 or 35%, then we generally let you name the horse. I'll tell you a quick funny story. Martys Fish is a good family friend for a long, long time, famous tennis player. And we were at dinner one night, and he said, "I want to name a horse, just like you guys are doing. How do I do that?" And I said the same thing. Well, if you put up a good percentage of the horse, then we'll let you name it. But out of curiosity, what do you want to name the horse? And he looked at me and he said, "Martys Fish." Okay. Name the horse after yourself. I like it. And so we did it. So he put up some money, and we named the horse Martys Fish, and Marty is running out here in Southern California. So Crowder Powder sounds fantastic.
Isn't the most successful horse in Little Red Feather history Singletary?
Yes. Singletary won the Breeders' Cup in 2004. Our trainer at the time, Don Chatlos, was a big Chicago Bears fan from Chicago. And when we bought the horse, he asked if we can name the horse Singletary. Obviously, being football fans and being Singletary fans, we had no problem with it.
How about that? Maybe we name a horse Ass Eyes for Adam Gase, our least favorite football coach. No. Could we name a horse Ass Eyes?
Again, Hawk, if you're willing to invest in the horse.
Gary, from this, and this is so interesting to me. Hawk talks about Little Red Feather all the time, and I give him hell about his sorry ass horse. But but like having that much invested in an animal, like, do you go out and look at him every day? Like if I really invested in a horse, like I would go just stare at him and rub his back, or spray water in his mouth, give him a Jolly Rancher. Like I would love to be involved in that horse because it's an investment.
Part of the experience of owning a racehorse, whether it's through the Little Red Feather or on your own, is that going to the barn, bringing your family, meeting the horse, being with the horse, feeding him carrots, being part of that horse's life, of course.
The Ticket Wizard and I, we fed carrots to a horse that we had at Gulfstream.
Is he just called the Ticket Wizard on the show?
We call Barry the Ticket Wizard. Well, it's good promotion for him. Could we name a horse the Ticket Wizard?
Absolutely. Let's call Barry and see how much he wants to invest.
Yeah, it's gonna be garbage.
Now, how dare you say that about the Ticket
The
Wizard?
Ticket Wizard. What do you mean? It's going to be a fast horse, obviously.
If Hawk's involved, Gary, if Hawk's involved, the horse is about to be garbage.
If there's an inquiry, the Ticket Wizard's going to come out on top, right? I mean, nobody does it better. What the pomp and circumstance of the Kentucky Derby? I know you're not going this year, but you've been, and I'm always fascinated by the Masters and the pimento cheese sandwiches. So when you went, did you have mint juleps? Did you wear a suit and a hat? Like, tell us what the experience is like at Churchill Downs.
Absolutely. Everybody is dressed to the nines and having a good time. It's a 2-day party today and tomorrow. Today's Ladies' Day, the Kentucky Oaks Day. And it's everything that you see in terms of a big event and having mint juleps and having the best time.
What's the greatest track that you've ever been to, or your favorite track? We love Gulfstream Park, obviously, because we do shows out there and we like being in the Carousel Club, and it's just a fun afternoon. What's your favorite track?
Gulfstream Park is one of my favorites. It's a nice little track. They redid it. It's fantastic. It doesn't hold that many, but it gives you a really up close and unique experience. For me, and I've been to Churchill Downs and I've been to Royal Ascot and I've been to Saratoga. There's no doubt that the best racetrack in America is at Del Mar. It's a beautiful racetrack that was built almost 100 years ago by Bing Crosby, who was the biggest entertainer in the world at the time. And it's right there on the beach. And he wrote a song about it called Where the Turf Meets the Surf, and it really is on the beaches in Del Mar.
All right. Gary Fenton.
I want to do the condition. I'm amazed by this stuff, Hawk. I asked a million questions when we were out at Gulfstream Park. The conditions, like the temperature, if it rained, if it didn't, does that change your thought on a race?
Well, most temperatures don't, because horses are used to colder weather. So it never really gets too hot or too cold for the horse. But weather certainly plays into it, especially down at Gulfstream Park. Some horses don't like a wet track, and we do run on a wet track, both on dirt and on turf. So you do look for that when you're handicapping a race, to see if horses have traditionally performed well or not on a particular surface. So certainly rain affects a horse race.
As it did you when you were linebacker. I mean, you were no good in the rain. Let's be honest. Let's call it like we see it.
Now you mad because your horses are garbage. You're going to get
my horses are good horses.
Actually, Crowder, I take a little offense to that too, because it's not just Hawk's horse. It's
That's
our horse
right.
now.
Tell them what it's all about. All right, so we like fierceness tomorrow. Fierceness tomorrow?
Yeah, I like fierceness tomorrow. Now, if another horse pops out of the gate and takes him on in the first half of the race, and fierceness has to go a little bit faster than he wants, then you'll be looking for a closer somewhere, and that's where maybe Sierra Leone could come in. I particularly like the Southern California horse. It's trained by our trainer, Phil D'Amato. It's his first time being in the Kentucky Derby, and that's Stronghold. He won the Sunland Derby a couple of months ago and then came back and won the Santa Anita Derby last month. Phil is a terrific guy, a fantastic trainer. He's going to be sitting pretty close to the pace. So if there is a meltdown, as they say, and speed doesn't hold, he'll get first crack at the top of the stretch, and he's a pretty good horse.
All right. Gary Fenton, if you're interested in Little Red Feather, the horse racing syndicate, where do you go? LittleRedFeather.com?
www.littleredfeather.com.
Again, you don't say www anymore. You don't say thank you for having me. Everyone pretty much knows that the website is going to start with www, but he made a Bing Crosby reference as well. So, I mean, if you're not looking at Gary's a good looking young guy, but if you're just listening, you have to assume that he's the next Hank Goldberg, that he's like, but like current Hank Goldberg. Like he's talking about Bing Crosby and www, but he does beyond that.
The old
fantastic appearance. Gary Fenton, littleredfeather.com. We appreciate it, Gary. Thank you. Enjoy the Kentucky Derby tomorrow. Hopefully fierceness comes home with the what do they call it? The belt?
The roses. A lot of roses they put on.
This is the run for the roses.
Correct.
All right. There you go. Gary Fenton, Little Red Feather. Thanks, Gare.
All right. Thanks, guys.
When I called Gary Payton Gare, it's because I call Gary Gare so many times. That's the honest truth. When I called Gary Payton Gare, it's because I'm used to saying, all right, Gare. That's where I
hit Gary with a Gare earlier in the interview.
Did you? I didn't even notice it. Oh, I would have jumped all over you.